Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. Like always, we're bringing the heat today with something that's truly going to bless and impact your life. Every tattoo artist, every collector today, today's message, today's topic truly impacts us all. Now, maybe you've heard in the winds, regulations, there's change brewing. Things are happening. New laws might be being passed. Have you heard horror stories of what's going on in Europe? Are they taking our inks away? Is the government trying to... There's been all this talk. Well, today we're bringing on a true professional, a brother, to bring a lot of clarity to us and what's really going on in our industry and how you and I can make an impact of where we're at in history with our industry. It's this much more today. We bring on our good brother, spearheading this whole movement for all of us. Our brother, Ben Shaw, is with us today. It's a good one. Tune in. Brothers and sisters, we can't thank you enough for all your love, your support, and your faithfulness. It's been brought to my attention, if you really want to do something to bless us, to thank us, apparently simply hitting the like button on YouTube would be more impactful than what I ever knew, let alone subscribing to us on YouTube if you're not already. And then over on Spotify and Apple, please leave us a review. All of your listening and your comments to us mean the world to us. And do us a favor and just hit like on YouTube and leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're going to continue to serve you with our whole heart. Thank you so much. Ooh. Oh, I heard about Ben maybe 15 years ago, the Sturbridge, Massachusetts convention. I met this young boy that I just saw magic in, who we now all know today is that boy who's now a looking great man by the name of Aldo.
All day,
Aldo. And I met him maybe 15 years ago at the Sturbridge, Massachusetts convention that even you used to go to, Josh.
Yep.
And fell in love with that boy just in the spirit. I remember I took him out to dinner, and I remember maybe being the weird guy to him because he was probably wondering, what's this Clemmer dude just taking me out to dinner for? It was me and Steve Olive and Aldo. And on that day, a seed and relationship was built that's been nurtured on and off over the years. Well, over the years, Steve and Aldo became friends. And throughout it all, I heard of a great man, Aldo's mentor, and the leader of Aldo's shop. Aldo hails from New Mexico. And I would always hear about Aldo's mentor, and people that knew both of us would say, you guys would love each other. You guys got similar hearts. You guys both have similar mission, and so I always heard high things about Aldo's mentor. Fast forward years later, and I finally got to meet the man, and don't you know, his brother Ben Shaw right here in front of us today.
Hell yeah. That's awesome.
And Ben and I got to finally... What's that?
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
You know it, brother. And then Ben and I got to finally connect and meet in the flesh not long ago. Really, just a year ago, or, my timetables are messed up, but it's been recently, and we met at the Explorer conference through our mutual brother Russ Abbott, and it was another one of those moments where we just saw one another, and got to know each other in our hearts a little bit more there in the flesh together that weekend. Wouldn't you say, Ben?
100%. I think I mentioned that I have not felt such a connection with another mutual soul since Bergerac, France, where I got to go stay in a Buddhist monastery and spend time with monastic Buddhist monks, and you definitely exude that the same energy, the same thing that Steve talked about, the same aspects that Aldo had always talked about, and truly that through your work and Josh, and I mean you guys are truly trying to do what's best for us as practitioners in the industry. And when we got to meet, it was a little overwhelming, I'll say that, because you do have quite a bit of energy that exudes off of you. But it was a great experience, and I'm truly I'm happy to have gotten to finally meet you as well, and now to be here, brother. and to sit on this amazing platform.
My God. Awesome. Thank you, Brother Ben, for that acknowledgement. Whoa. Ryan Roy explains me as a unicorn to his people. I just learned that last week. Oh my God. Yes. And now you're right. Here we are today. And again, we honor you for being here, showing up, making yourself available in your busy schedule to serve us all. From your table today. And I just want to honor you for all the hard work and the responsibility that you have taken on that now affects us all because so many of us are clueless, let alone a brother like you that's now, I believe, representing all of us. And that's what I want to get around to today. Is to educate all of us. How would you like the framework of this conversation to go, Ben? Can we simply announce what we're looking at with the call to action? How can we all help bring change right now with an understanding what that looks like, and then we can fill in the gaps? Or how would you like to take this?
Yeah. I mean, if it's cool, I'd like to maybe give a little bit of background because I believe it's applicable to the main story, what's happened in New Mexico and how it'll apply to our government, and really kind of break down truly what's going on, and then and on a call to action, because there's definitely some very simple things we can do that could be extremely effective.
Wonderful, brother. Yes, educate us all, man. What's going on, Ben?
Okay, cool. Well, just to kind of give a little bit of background, which, like I said, helps kind of paint the picture for the story, helps kind of create and prime the canvas, is been tattooing for 23 years, but the last decade been spending a good amount of time in state regulation, working with the New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department. In New Mexico, back in 2008, they started regulating tattooing, pretty much without our knowledge or participation in the process. It was just basically we were saddled with these regulations, and they were not very good, right? They put us in with the barbers and cosmetologists, and it provided huge learning gaps between the regulators and the industry, and there was a lot of difficulties, to say the least. So in 2013, I applied and sat on the board, and again, it just wouldn't work. So we had to do something about that. And I had requested that we create our own board, right? Have a board of tattoo artists, body piercers, and permanent cosmetic practitioners that could regulate our industries. And they told me no. They said, no, that won't happen. That's just not going to happen. Well, you don't need that, right? But I was determined and formed the Guild of Ethical Tattooists here in New Mexico, Albuquerque, where we got about 20 different tattoo shops to put aside their differences, to come to, mutual meeting places and kind of share with them, hey, I realize there's a lot of issues. We need to do something about this. And through a mutual friend, I met a really awesome Senator, Jacob Candelaria. He helped me create and lobby a bill in 2015 to create the Board of Body Art Practitioners. Now, why it's so important to start with this is because that's where I learned about the process of creating a law. And how it's going to affect us today. Because during the legislative session, you take a bill and you take it through the different committees of legislative houses. But you got the Senate and House of Reps, and there's committees within it. And you got to get through each one of these committees before it can go to the governor's office. Now, we were able to get through all these committees and get to the governor's office because we were able to have presence, because we were able to have power in numbers, because I could have said all the fanciest words, stats, and facts, and made all the sense in the world. It was when the regulators or the committee chair would ask, is there support for this bill? And a group of tattooers stood up, right? And then it visually cued them that the industry
physically
regarded
present.
this as something important.
Physically present in that room. Okay. Yeah,
we would have field trips and everybody come out and just be present there. And just by them standing up and say, I agree with this particular bill. And once a bill goes through all those houses, it goes to the governor's office. At that point, you can't talk to the governor. The governor has to utilize their own spheres of information to make a decision on a bill that's made it all the way to them. But you can call in support. And so we started a grassroots campaign where we were just bombarding the governor's office with support with the call. To the point where 6 weeks later, I got a phone call from the governor's office saying, Mr. Shaw, the governor signed your bill. Please stop having your people call. You know, like it got to the point that it got annoying to them.
Awesome.
And we got a bill passed the first year through. And I agitated a lot of lobbyists that were doing this because they spent years trying to get bills through. And it's nothing special other than a key formula that I'm going to share about what's going on federally is, first off, tattooing is still not overly politically tied to anything. You know, there's not like huge issues with politicians. They're still kind of like, it's tattooing. And we made sense, right? You know, it makes sense to have tattoo artists pay attention to what tattoo artists do. And we had the support of the people, right? You know, we had the industry that came behind it. And that, you know, I served on that bill until 2019, and then the pandemic hit, and kind of we all, you know, kind of went into our own kind of reclusiveness for a while. But there was a notification that came across that something was happening federally with the government, federally to the body art industry. And it was called the MOCRA. The MOCRA stands for the Modernization of Cosmetic Regulation Act. And this was signed into law December 29th, 2022. And it's really, even though it seems new to all of us, and all of us are kind of like, well, what is this? You know, I'm confused, I don't understand. This has been in preparation for the past 2 decades. There's and I'll get into all the crazy acronyms because the government loves their acronyms. But there is a committee that's been working on this for, again, since 2000 to group tattooing in body art. So tattoo artists, body piercers, permanent cosmetics, all body artists into the cosmetic realm. They're finding a way to finally figure out how to give us some sort of regulation designation. So that bill was signed into law by President Biden at the end of the last year, and now we are subject to a law. It's not a bill. It's not an idea. It's not a thought. It's now a law. And a law creates a statute. And at any point in time, you guys have any questions, definitely ask me, because I know at some points it's like...
Ben, I'm so fucking thankful for all of this. Yeah, if you don't mind for me to interject right here.
Please.
Yeah. And so this law that's already in effect 8 months now, or however long it's been, is it one specific law? And can you tell us what that law is or how it affects us?
100%. Tattooing, body piercing, permanent cosmetic is now labeled a cosmetic practice.
Yeah.
And all of our products are now subject to scrutiny by the FDA. All of our products, tattoo ink, tattoo ointment, aftercare, pre-post interim, lidocaine, bandages are now being reviewed. We'll get into it in a little bit. There's a committee that believes they're even going to look at our equipment. Basically, everything we utilize is now going to be regulated by the FDA.
Really letting the government's hands involved in us.
100%.
Wow.
And there's some, I start off with a little bit of the negatives, right? But I definitely have an opportunity for us, because this does open up something that I think the industry could utilize. But yes, right now we are now going to be regulated by the FDA. Now, when a law goes into effect, it creates a statute. A statute is a very basic, broad set of laws. It's like the framework or the foundation that they need to build rules off of and regulations off of, because the statute is very vague. You know, it gives a general rundown, but then they're going to start creating more specific rules. It's very difficult to create and change a statute, but you can change rules through rule committees annually or every few years. So
who gets to create the statute, Ben?
Well, the statute's created, but who gets to create the rules is the question.
Okay.
And we can participate in that. And that's where I come into the opportunity. Because this just happened, December 29th. So, I mean, that was 3 months now. It's March.
Oh,
something.
Okay. So that recent. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, it just happened, right? So we're in a prime space because we're alerted to it. I'm on here on Tattoo Guardians podcast. I've been able to talk to hundreds of thousands of people through social media and now being asked to talk about it. So we're showing awareness of it.
Good.
It's not something that's like, hey, what happened?
That's right.
Which is what happened. And I just want to real quick kind of paint how it could go sideways, because this is what happened in Europe. And you guys are aware of what's going on in Europe, right? There's these ink bans where they're very strict on their pigment ingredients and the tolerances that they're allowed to use in it. And what happened in Europe is the same thing happened, but the tattoo industry was like, don't worry about it. It won't affect us. Nah, that's a them problem. That's not us problem. We'll be okay.
Almost like we're pirates. We've always been fucking wool.
Exactly.
We don't need to worry about we're going to ground, right? Now they can't get the stuff they want. Well, they can, but they have to use it illegally now. And I was reading an article by a very renowned scientist in Europe who was saying this has created a massive illegal activity in the tattoo industry. He likened it to the prohibition, right? The government has outlawed the good shit, so they got to use the crappy crap. So many of them keep like the compliant pigments on the windowsill and then use the stuff they're not supposed to in the background. And I'm not saying that they're out there kicking down doors and going after tattoo artists, but I did speak with a tattoo artist specifically saying that there has been some examples made where an inspector came in and didn't test their pigment bottles. They were testing their ink caps to see what was in the pigment. And they've issued a 3 years in jail, 50,000 euro fine for this.
Holy shit.
That's worst case scenario. I'm not saying they're all going to jail, but they're throwing that out them.
If they want to set an example, right?
If they want to, they can, And that's one of those things, we'll be pirates until they got you, and then you potentially are subject to these things. Now, right now in Europe, they're fighting them. But
no, I just had a vision of every workstation in Europe's got like 2 trays, one with full caps they're working off of. The inspectors come in, they all pull their other tray out, and it's already got ink caps filled for them to test, like just right over top of it.
For 3 years and 50 stacks, I would do it.
Jeez, that's nuts, man.
Yeah,
okay,
and it sucks that it's like that's how you have to go about your day to day. Like, I hope no one comes in today, and I hope I don't get that call or that person walks in. Now, again, this is an extreme. But there's an organization in Europe called the European Society of Tattoo and Pigment Research. And they have been doing research on tattoo pigments, and they've been trying to petition their parliament for years now, specifically really going at parliament saying like, hey, your regulations are wrong. You used the wrong guideline. Because the tattoo industry did nothing, they just waited and said, be a pirate. They said, all right, well, if you're not going to be compliant with us or give us any background, we will put you in the strict guidelines by this organization called REACH, Registration, Evaluation, Authorization, and Restriction of Chemicals, to the point where they tried to make titanium dioxide illegal in Europe. And for those of you who don't know, titanium dioxide's in everything white, right? It's in your toothpaste, your milk, your bread, your chocolate, your candy. And if you drink a gallon of it, wouldn't be good, but a small, minute amount in your dermal layer is pretty dang safe. But because they didn't have guidance from the industry at the right time, they created guidelines that are inappropriate. Now they're trying to fix it. And just like I said, it's very difficult to change a statute. Very difficult. Now, we are lucky in this sense. We have a golden opportunity is we're aware, right? And we're starting to have conversations already. We're already starting to get ready for this with the right people in the right groups, because here in the U.S., we do have some allies. So
okay, good.
Any questions at this point? No.
Yes,
one. I can keep going.
Yes, Ben, and one I wanted to, and you're such a open, caring, compassionate man, because I was about to give the disclaimer. Forgive us for asking dumb questions, but for all of our listeners too, right? But so what's the window of time? Meaning, when the deal was passed in Europe, the artists weren't aware or didn't give a shit and did nothing about it. Boom! Then the repercussions have kicked in. The difference now is we're not out of time. It just was signed 3 months ago. But how much time did it take? How much time do you think us guardians and tattoo artists throughout the U.S. have right now?
Amazing question. The end of the year is when all manufacturers need to submit all of their ingredients lists and have their facilities inspected. So we have the rest of 2023 before, they start the rule hearing process. And what that means is by the end of the year, they'll gather up all this information. They'll gather up all the different manufacturers. And then the FDA and the Secretary of Human Services is going to start creating rules. Now, they're not going to say, boom, here's the rules, deal with it. They're going to say, these are the rules we're thinking about. What do you think? They're going to give us an opportunity as the public, and especially if we have the representation from the industry, they will listen to our feedback, and we can have a dialogue about this.
Great.
So we do have the rest of the year to get ready for this.
Good.
I spent the last 10 years, like banging my head against the wall trying to learn all these processes and such, and being able to try and articulate them in tattoo language is what I'm trying to do, because again, I start off with a little bit of the negatives, but I can share with us how we can move forward with this positively, because it's inevitable, right? We're a $1 billion industry. 46% of Americans have at least one tattoo, right? You know, we're all living in this very affluent, influential time of tattooing. So the government is just doing their job. I don't feel like
it hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like I said, it's been 20 years in the making, so they've been working on it. It's just taken some time, and it's been very difficult to work with us pirates. You know, like
so Ben,
we didn't.
I remember where I was going with that. In the name of us and our awareness and getting unified and prepared to have dialogue with them when it's time, instead of us, and that's why I'm just thankful that you're heading this deal up. Instead of us all waiting, and even individual ink companies waiting to get their call to make the appointment, what if we went to them and called them? It's like, hey, we're ready for you to come we're ready for us to educate you guys. Come on out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And start this relationship off. But what if we went to beat them to it?
Yeah. And again, here comes the hopeful part is we're already making strides that way. We're already heading in that direction. And there's some organizations that I want to talk about that are really the ones to get behind.
Great.
Who are making those conversations happen, that are reaching out, and we are already starting to engage. So for all practitioners, there is an organization, a governmental committee called AFDO, the Association of Food and Drug Officials Body Art Committee. Now this consists of some tattoo artists, body piercers, permanent cosmetic practitioners, FDA agents, a few other peripherals like medical supply, people who have vested interest in a very similar realm. And their job is to gather information from the industry and have industry specialists inform the FDA, right? They take all that information, and they're the vehicle that communicates to the FDA.
Okay.
Now, on that committee, there is representation for us, the practitioners, called the APT, the Alliance of Professional Tattooists. This organization has been around since 1992. They've been protecting our industry for decades. Some of the members now are still the same members from the beginning. Sean Anderson, Pat Sinatra. They have been fighting for us for decades. They came about in a time when the government wanted us to start wearing gloves. And the pirates were like, I don't want to wear gloves. And there was a lot of friction during that transition, right? And it was through peer pressure, but basically communication. They were liaisons, and they helped tattoo artists, come into some compliance. And they actually were really responsible for helping tattooing become legal in a lot of states that were illegal at the time. Not legislatively, but just through showing that we can take care, like we can be professional.
Yes.
And they haven't stopped. The only thing that's stopped is they, technology's changed in the last couple of decades, and many of them are still, like Sean, still tattoos 5 days a week. This man will tattoo 10 hours a day, still, grinding.
He's always been one of my heroes.
And on his free time, trust me, he spends all his free time thinking about how to protect us and how to protect the future of tattooing. And they still exist. And I became a member back in 2019, and the pandemic kind of, obviously we all kind of took a break, and coming back to it has been my mission to help this organization grow again. Because I truly, like you just said, Josh, these guys and gals have been our heroes. They've been protecting us behind the scenes for decades, and they're still doing it. We're still meeting on a daily basis. It's just now trying to get the industry aware of it. Those of us who've been tattooing for 15, 20 years plus, we know who they are, but they're not as active as they were. Before that, people don't know who they are, but they're still there.
So
go ahead.
I'm on the website right now for AFDO. That's afdo.org, correct?
Correct.
And it looks like it's something, it's got quite a bit of information. It looks like they have a conference every year. So is this something that we should be signing up for, right? This is something we should be trying to get involved in.
Or when you said became a member in 2019, AFDO or the APT or both?
So I'm a member of everything. So I'm a member of APT since 2019, and I've recently joined AFDO's Body Art Committee, and myself and a few other APT members are representing tattooing on that board. So
great.
This is the AFDO conference is something that, of course, is something that you can attend, where it's just a lot of educational seminars, but really the strength is in joining APT as a member and being proactive in your area and sharing and disseminating this information to your peers in a way that your peers will understand, right? That's been my mission, is to take this complex information, try to simplify it as much as I can,
right,
and give it to other tattooers and then share it with their peers. Right?
Great. So
and
right now in this conversation, at this exact moment in the show, there's thousands of tattoo artists listening and collectors, fans, art lovers, right? We've got thousands of people listening to this conversation right now. What about for the small shop in Michigan that's sitting here listening to us? They love listening to us every week. And the small shop in Idaho that, like, what does our deal count? And should we join AFDO and the APT? What should we do right now?
Great question. Join APT. Joining AFDO is something that you're more than welcome to, but we have representation to it. And we will share with all of APT, all of practitioners, what's going on. Really, what AFDO wants is a strong representation of the industry. So we're there. And being that APT is over 30 years old, they've been a nonprofit for that long. They've been working to protect they got great credit, right? Now, the one thing they don't have is the power of the industry's numbers, right? We need to have the industry representation, like the majority of the industry backing this organization this is the trade organization that we trust and put our faith in. And there's a way that we can share this information with you immediately. So we've created the Body Art Regulation Support System, which Josh, you've joined recently, and it's on Discord.
Yes.
And it's a very simple platform. For those who are aware of Discord, it's literally just a bunch of tabs or channels with links and information, each one of them. And there's a tab for APT.
And on the Discord channel, it looks to me, from what I've seen, it represents several states. There's different channels for different states, all of them. And also, just on a quick side note, sorry, go ahead. I'm on the Alliance of Professional Tattoo Artists. I'm filling out my membership application as we speak. It looks pretty straightforward and easy, so I definitely encourage every of our listeners to go out there and let's join this, and let's not wait. Let's not wait before it's gonna. Don't remember the episode where I talked about when I didn't pay my bills. That's future Josh's problems, and those problems came hard and fast. Let's not let this happen to our industry.
That's right, and you're on it right now. So what's it look like to fill out? You're putting in your basic information. There's
it's real easy. There's a join, become a member, apply. You've got some stuff to fill out. There's a fee. It's a realistic fee. We all make money. We should certainly be supporting our industry.
Of course.
But,
Great. And what's the fee?
APT tattoo membership.
And what's the fee?
Let me go back to it real quick. Give me 1 second.
$100 or $150?
$150.
$150. Okay.
For a year.
So should I do the professional membership, Ben, or the associated artist?
No, professional.
Well, you're not an artist. I mean, I don't think they would consider you a real tattooer. Right. So I think there's an area for
I'll wear gloves.
I would guess professional tattoo artist, right, Ben?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, you all are professional tattoo artists.
And I also like that, because you can have an associate. So listeners that support us that are not tattoo artists, you can still go on here and support us.
Oh, great.
Help us fight this fight.
They can join. They can join. So like, are you,
yeah.
like all of our clients, all the collectors, because this doesn't just affect us practitioners.
And that's only $75.
It affects everyone. Collector out there, you know? So are you telling me, Ben, this isn't limited to practitioners joining? This is just the whole country, anyone up for the cause.
100%. Yes. I mean, anyone that loves tattooing, who cares about tattooing and want to see it move forward professionally and safely. Yes. I mean, this is the
organization. This is a great example of leaving tattooing better than we found it. We talk about it, you know, it's time to practice what we preach.
I'm a member.
Man.
Yeah.
You know how like on our shop wall, so many artists use QR codes now. We've got a QR code that our clients come in and just scan to do their release form. There's another QR code clients just scan to leave us a Google review. You know, if you're going to tip Hip, I'm sure, he's going to be so blessed by that. But if you really want to do something special for Hip, fill out this, leave him a good review. It would be such a blessing to him. Yeah. I wonder what it'd look like if every shop got a QR code for APT. And the biggest thing you could do with us right now is to join APT and support this house, right?
Give your voice, yes.
Yeah, we're one of the last billion-dollar industries. Yeah, well, again, it is a statute. This is a law.
Yes, exactly. And like you said, that's where it gets hard, correct?
And almost impossible to change a congressional law, yeah. Yes,
so now is the time to get... 100%.
Yeah. Now you guys you're getting the meat and potatoes of it. Is there's a law that's happened that could make rules to where we end up like Europe, and we don't want that. Right. But we're in a better position because we're aware. We have an organization that cares, and we have representation that communicates to the FDA.
Thank you. So right there, back to communication. Let's say 1,000 tattoo artists this week all join APT, right? But, and then, and so I was thinking, okay, now we're on APT. How's APT keep us informed and how we all, and then you immediately, before I got to ask that, directed us to the Discord, right? To all stay connected. Correct. Would it be fair? Yes. And one, if you can let me know what the APT does to keep us informed, but I'm also hearing you say as a clear unification call to action for all tattoo guardians in the world to first join the APT and then immediately to stay connected. And the next steps is to join the Body Art Regulation Support Discord, correct?
Correct. 100%.
Will you clarify that Discord again?
You nailed it. The Body Art Regulation Support System on the Discord platform. I can share a link with you so that you can share with any of your peers and obviously in the comments and such. I have a direct link in
we'll put in my bio. All the links in the show notes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So this is good breaking it down for all of us. Step 1, join APT. Step 2, get on the Discord, right? What else can we do, Ben?
I think for a lot of us, we know, we hear these rumblings. We're not exactly sure what's going on. Yeah. Even before you joined us today, Hip and I were talking. We're like, we really want to let Ben have the platform because I don't want to speak on something I don't really know about, So we're so lucky that we have people like Ben that can stand up and take charge and have been fighting this for us for a long time. The least we can do is fight with him.
And to the point, Ben, we've wanted to bring this discussion to the Guardian show months ago when we heard about the Europe thing and actually had another practitioner scheduled. And I did a pre-interview and we realized that even this practitioner did not know enough. And I didn't want to do a show where we're announcing shit that's happening, could be, or coming, and we have no solution or direction. So we didn't even record that episode. Months later, you show up in our live. So again, like Josh, we're just all so thankful to have you here today.
You nailed it a little bit earlier, Josh. We want to leave the industry better. We came to it, and this is the role that I feel that I'm called to, and it's just been serendipitous for the people who have also then tried to support this as well. Just already bringing out this awareness to thousands of tattooers is really acting to leave the industry better. and we still have more effort ahead. And we talked about those initial call to actions. Those are great. I mean, those are the foundational steps. That is what's really going to make the input that we give AFTO and then inadvertently the FDA much more powerful.
Right.
So there's the practitioner and there's the manufacturers, and the people who are making all of our products. Okay. They too are starting to form a group called the Product Safety Committee, which is a subcommittee within the Body Art Committee in AFTO. Okay. I know it's lots of committees and committees, but that is an organization that manufacturers can get behind. And they are having meetings with AFTO to discuss their specifics on what ingredients and tolerances and getting into the whole aspects of how the FDA should look at their products and such. Okay. And it's by APT supporting the manufacturers that I always I like to use I'm not saying we're getting into a fight, but I always use the 1-2 combination. You got the practitioners and you got the manufacturers, and together we can now be effective at making actions when it comes to, we're going to be having to lobby Congress. We're going to have to share with them how important and different tattooing is compared to what's going on in other aspects of cosmetics. And that's where we can start to educate the practitioners and the manufacturers as we move forward. Right now, like I said, this is still so new, and it's amazing that we're this proactive as an industry, ready to start going. In the next coming months, we will then be able to say, this is the next step that we're taking. The amazing thing with technology and the body art regulation support system is we could be like, they're trying to do X thing. We need to all send a petition now. And we can do that. We can do that digitally. And then immediately the industry, or I'm sorry, the FDA go like, oh, wow, they have this unified effort. There's this industry initiative where they are being proactive. We don't have to regulate them so much. They can do it themselves. And that is the goal, is to show we're mature enough and unified enough to we can steer the ship.
Right.
And
love it.
And I mean that is currently where we're at.
You know, you said the 1-2 punch, a knockout would be, especially, brother, you're, another art form that that we all flow in and love is the art of building relationships, which you're great at. And I'm so glad you're continuing to on all these boards representing all of us. Talk about that 1-2 punch. A knockout would be building a relationship with AFTO, having them come into our shop and just tattooing AFTO. I guarantee there's someone in AFTO that's got a tattoo, right?
Oh yeah, they are. Oh, definitely. Oh yeah,
like to where AFTO wants us to win too, because they want their sleeve finished, right?
And I'll say this, I don't. When I say fight, and I talk, like, I don't want to say there's a problem that the government's after us. The government's trying to do their job. The FDA is not trying to overregulate us. They just want input. They see what's going on in Europe too. They see the illegal activity that is caused, and they don't want to create that here. But they will if they have to, right? Yeah, right. So if we can be, professional and step up, then they're going to be like, all right, dope, they got it, right? And I know personally several that have tattoos. So they definitely care for tattooing too.
Okay, good. That's a plus.
Yeah, I've seen stuff fall into the wrong hands with the government. Like, I've been to some conventions where, for whatever reason, they don't know the laws, and so they've got this weird thing like you have to use Neosporin on your tattoo. You have to have bleach water to clean your stuff down. Forget the actual real stuff, the correct stuff we use. These bizarre laws that are backwards, and I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up too, Josh, because there's another organization in it, and I don't want to inundate because there is a lot happening with our industry because of its affluence and just explosion of people collecting tattoos and the amount of people that get them on a daily basis. In the body art regulation support system, there are individual states because every state regulates tattooing differently. You all know that. As you traverse to go to conventions, it's like, how do they regulate? What do I need to supply here? What's going on over at this state? Right. Oh, they have no regulations here, or they got too many over here, right? Like, it's so sporadic that it's extremely difficult to navigate it all. So there's another organization called the National Environmental Health Association, and they have been drafting up the Body Art Model Code, which has been around again for nearly 2 decades. And this is a foundational statutes, not the way that our products are made, on how we tattoo. This is square footage of your room, the lights that are required from it, the biohazard container requirement, et cetera, et cetera. And there is also a Body Art Model Code Committee where I interviewed Steve Joyner yesterday. He's a part of the APP. He's been a person for 37 years. He's been involved with APP for years, but he's a body artist. Him and even Brian Everett have been sitting on these boards for years, guiding the inspectors' decisions when they're making these foundational statutes that states are applying to their licensure. So it's so important for us to be there as well as practitioners to guide those foundational statutes during the formation of them. Because right now it's just a code that states can pull from. But I spoke and had an interview with Ryan Harrell. He owns Great American Tattoo Society, and he has tattoo shops on right now, I think 6 or 8 Army bases or military bases. And he has like 20 more on build out. Like the military is super happy with tattooing coming in, but when they wanted to invite tattooing onto their base, the purpose was because they knew tattooing can be irregulated and dangerous in certain places, and the privates and the airmen are still getting the tattoo. And when they found out that there was no statutes that are federally mandated, they're like, well, we need to find some. And there has been talks, again, nothing immediate, and I'm not trying to say this is happening right away, but in the coming years, there is a potential that the Body Art Model Code could become the foundational statute for the way that we practice. Now, I will say this, if we're involved, it will be okay. It will be rules that make sense. It will be laws that make sense for us. So when you say if we are involved, and I know that's what a lot of the discussions, what's that look like? If we are involved, meaning... Involved. Okay. I thought you were talking about the evolution of our rules in the creation process and the dialogue with AFTO to help them and create these rules off of the statute. Yeah, no, we do have some, and I sit on that committee now. I just got approved. I have to wait till September until I can be officially pulled in. But I've brought the Body Art Regulation Support System sharing, like, hey, we as an industry are trying to work together. We are taking the initiative. We want to give you input. And it is by doing this, they're going, oh, cool. Thank you. Because otherwise, the government is understaffed, underpaid, undereducated in our processes. And if we're supplying them this information, then they are more likely to take it. We just need to be there to have a discussion in a professional way, saying these are the things and this is why we need to have it this way.
Love it, Ben. So when you guys meet on these committees, are they always in person, and where do you go to meet them?
They're on Zoom. Okay. Right now, everything is Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because there's people from all around the country. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they have different, they meet bi-monthly, some monthly, some meet every week. So there's a plethora of meetings to go to.
Very cool.
But it's being involved with this, and as things come out, I can share with it directly through the ABT and through the Body Art Regulation Support System, so people can know exactly what's going on. So if we need to, we can take swift action.
Yes. Then last week I brought up a old one-liner that a mentor of mine used to say that I didn't fully understand, and then we illuminated it with our brother Rock, Eric Long, last week, and it was, you choose to be chosen. And, you said you feel like this is part of your calling, man, like that you've been called to this. I know, we know like tattooing chose you. And now look at this season as if you've been chosen for this mission and to educate and unite and represent us all. But we also understand that you, sir, have to say yes to the call, even if that's daily. And it's as if you are choosing to be chosen. And we thank you for that, brother.
Of course. I I'm sure we can all agree, everyone on this platform right now, tattooing's been amazing to us. It's provided for us. It's given us everything we had. It has kept me alive. It has saved my life. Yeah. And doing tattoos is a gift to us. And this is just giving back to tattooing. And trust me, this wasn't my original. It wasn't like, I want to be the regulation guy.
Right.
Trust me, it's not the most popular position.
That's sexy. Yeah.
Ben, do you ever feel like you're just talking, and people are just like, yeah, the sky's falling, I get it. Like, do you feel sometimes like you're just saying, hey, I can look ahead, I can see this accident's coming, nobody sees it but me,
And I won't say I'm alone, because there are people like like Sean Anderson and Pat Sinatra and Steve Joyner, like there are people that have been doing this forever. And yeah, for the past decade, I've been called the tattoo police. That people think that when I was on the state board protecting us, that I was somehow the state and I was issuing licenses, and fines, and it's through just lack of communication that, it's been very straining at times. Yeah. And, but like I said, it's really just because, at the end of the day, I got my wife and kids, and I got a great shop, and Aldo and Chelsea and my crew is just amazing, and this is supporting them, and then it's just what I can do, and things keep happening like this, where I get asked to speak on platforms that really make a huge difference. So I'm just doing what got to do.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yes.
I just had that pleasure of being in Mexico with Aldo, and then actually Aldo just graduated from my Everything I Know course. So not only what a great artist, what a great human.
Yeah.
Oh
God, yeah.
We're all definitely
he's a beautiful human
definitely blessed to have him in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been tattooing, Ben?
23 years now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's, I just had my 43rd, so my kids were like, "Oh, you're 430 years old now." Got it.
Right. My kids are always, whenever I tell them how old I am on my whatever birthday, they always say it's the same. They're like, "You've been saying you're 42 forever." They always seem to say that for some reason. It's like, well, I'm 48, so.
Well, Ben, let us all know, because I don't think we asked earlier. What's the name of your shop in New Mexico?
Archetype Tattoo.
Awesome.
Archetype Tattoo, yeah. Archetypetattoo.com. Definitely, like I said, I have an amazing crew.
Love it. Love it.
Been there for 13 years now.
I know through the little bit of my experiences with like sitting in at Mario Bar's seminars in Vegas last year, and had a couple talks with Caroline Evans. Which she reached out to me after she's been in contact with you and had touched base, because we wanted to have her on as well, but we kept running into like
not having enough
information. And I gotta say, from everything I heard, even with people that have a lot of information, the way you just broke it down, kept me paying attention and wanting to know and understand. And it was really kind of like, for the lack of better terms, like dumbed down and simplified to where like, oh, I kind of understand now, right? Like you breaking down the whole, like,
and in the name of that, a quick recap for all of us, even myself, to be empowered right the fuck now. That's why, Josh, I'm glad he already joined, but just breaking it down in simple steps to recap, I still just have step 1 and step 2. And I wanted to get clear on, more of the work. Step 1, everyone to join the APT, right? Step 2, to join the Discord, the Body Art Regulation Support System, right? We all just did that. Let's say we all just did that. Okay, now what? Is there anything else other than we wait to be informed by either APT or in the Discord?
So
is there anything else you suggest?
This is at the moment, that is in itself the most arduous task, is to get tattoo artists to join. Now, there are some things that we are working on that the practitioners can help with, but because we don't want to start saying a whole bunch yet, we don't want the FDA to disagree with it yet. But there will be some very specific actions that we can take. And we will be releasing that here in the next hopefully the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Great.
But yes, now, if anyone's interested too, in May, Cinco de Mayo, APT is going to be having an event in Orlando, Florida. So anyone that's an ex-APT member or interested in learning more and kind of meeting in person will be having an event then. So I can also share more information if anyone's interested. Cinco de Mayo, yep.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yes, and I agree. We've had several of these conversations and just left disempowered, confused, in a gray area with our fingers crossed, like hopefully somebody does something.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And there's a Ben Shaw out there somewhere.
That's right.
And really just by being involved, and like I said, they're going. Even the FDA is still like, oh, this is new. Like we are really in an optimal point. And we really stepped in at the right time. You know, the planets have aligned to where we are like, boom, we're getting ready as they're getting ready. So as we form, and again, if you know manufacturers, direct them to that product safety committee. They can start to build their group, right? And then we can start the conversations on exactly what steps we're going to be taking. And then they'll start to provide us with those rules. And then we can say, hey, everyone, this is what is being provided. What do you think? And this doesn't require, and that's the thing, is I don't want tattoo artists to think they got to like walk around picket fences and knock on doors. I mean, if you are in a state and you feel called to do something similar, in one of those states, go into that tab, put your contact information, put contact information for any regulators that are tattoo friendly, legislators. I mean, we all have clients that are in politics too. Those who are still willing to, or those who are willing to help us out, build up the contact information in there. Now, this is not just the federal aspect. Let's just say you're in a state that are having issues with your individual licensure. That's the point of APT too, is to support them. So if you're in whatever state you're in and you're having problems with licensing, touch base with us. And through solidarity, we can step in and say, hey, this is how the industry goes about regulating. Not how you're doing it. This is how we're doing it. And there have been experiences where we've been able to sway state rules, because rules are easier to change through the power of presence and the industry representation. So it's a way for us to just really be active with each other. And again, that will go so far right now.
Josh, when you just joined APT, and I don't know if you finished filling it out, anywhere does it ask you, like, how did you hear about us? Just curious.
No.
It would be cool to know, like, how many people, if they wrote, like, Tattoo Guardians, how many people, you know, and I was just curious. As I would, you know, I'm feeling almost led, you know, to offer, you know, our listeners something. For even
cover
joining
their fees for them if they join. You heard it here, folks.
First he's got to take us on vacation.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, thank you, Josh. That's right.
I would say for our listeners, definitely, like, if you're joining some of these, put it in the comments. You know, let's get this ball rolling and this conversation started.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's inspired me to even bring up or like print out some sort of information sheet to like pass out at the end of my seminar. Because man, I'm getting to teach my first seminar at Evergreen, and like just to even say that, you know. Yeah. So it's like, of course.
And that's another benefit. You know, if you do want to have information, pamphlets, stickers, banners, whatnot, APT will supply them. They just connect with us, and we will provide that information for you, because it's great to go online and we can definitely touch a lot of people at a lot of time. But man, a handshake and eye contact really makes a huge difference too while you're out and about at shows. I mean, that's huge too. You know, Troy Temple and the, you know, all of his conventions, he's an APT member too. So, I mean, that's very APT friendly too. So, you know, that's something we can do as well. Just have the conversation, you know, and shake those hands.
Very cool. Very cool. My God. Awesome. We've actually all been empowered. We've got a little more clarity on what's really going on. We've all been educated a little bit today, but also empowered to do our part now, and are involved so that we can continue to all along the way this season, this year. I love it.
We got till the end of this year, so we got to.
Well, I just love the fact that not only every tattoo artist that's listening right now can join the APT and then the Body Art Regulation Support System on Discord, but that every fan, every client, every lover of art, every collector is invited to run alongside us in this. We always know what good is a song if there are no ears to hear it? What good is a painting if there are no eyes to see it? And what good is a tattoo if there is no client to receive it? I love that we're in this together.
Yes, 100%.
And I noticed earlier when I was filling it out that if you are not a tattoo artist and you still want to support it, the price was actually half. So,
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, tattooing has touched many lives, and it can be a huge benefit to just get all those who do care about tattooing involved. And I feel like again, I was saying that tattooing is one of those last billion-dollar industries that has no centralized leadership or but now if we could, I mean, we could truly be an example for those next generations, right? Because that's what we want to do, is we want to provide this guidance for those that are coming after us. And that tattooing, being one of the most ancient crafts that we've been doing, can be something that's so important in our culture, and not just what we do with our clients and on our clients, but also how we are responsible human beings, and we do care about professionalism and unification of something that's amazing. So
Ben, it's so good. So good. For such a time as this, you have been called, sir. My God. Love it. Happy day. Well, I just know that all of our listeners have questions. After they hear this, they might have a question for you, Ben. They might have questions for us. Like usual, you can write us in the comments. Ben himself will have access to all the comments, those of you watching and listening on YouTube. Ask any questions or comments in the comment section, and I'm sure our brother Ben will take a gander. But Ben, if people have questions that they want to directly ask you, how would you like them to do that? I would like to first suggest for all of you to first join the APT and then get in the Discord and ask all your questions there, already in a well-versed community to support you out the gate. Right? That would be the best plan. We encourage you to just do just that. But if someone's listening and somehow wants to reach out to you directly right now, what would you prefer, Ben?
If it's not the Discord, you can direct message me on Instagram. I think that would be the other method, of course. I do have an email that I can share.
Yeah, okay.
But those are the most direct ways to. Yeah.
Great, brother. And of course, we're going to put all your info in the show notes, links to Ben. Can we, in the show notes, Mike, just put the link to join the APT and the Discord links? Can we put all that in the show notes?
Absolutely. I'll put it all in there.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So now, for anyone listening, all the links are right here for you. And can we do that on all platforms, Mike?
Yes.
Wonderful. My God.
That's amazing.
And
That's amazing,
as time progressed, Ben, I already know when it's time, we'll have you back on for step 3 and 4 when it's time.
Oh, yes. Happy to be here. And again, thank you guys for really recognizing that this is important. And that, again, I mentioned it's been sometimes it falls on deaf ears, and it's been very serendipitous that you all are willing to take me on and share this message and be so supportive, which again just shows how much we care about tattooing. And I look forward to be on again and sharing information in the future.
Man, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate everything you're doing for me. Thank you.
Yeah, same here. I know this was kind of even last minute. You kind of scrambled to get here for us. Again, we didn't want to just start giving out information that we didn't really know what we were talking about, and I knew exactly who to go to. So again, thank you.
For all our listeners, when Josh said last moment, we usually book our guests pretty far in advance. We didn't even give Mr. Shaw 24-hour notice, and he was here for us today.
Yep.
And
I even gave him the wrong time. He thought it was going to be 11 p.m. and I was like, oh shit. And he was ready to do that. So
my God.
So good. True soldier,
a
true brother.
When the opportunity's knocking, you got to take it.
Come on. Love it, man. Then I speak blessings upon you and your journey. Thank you for who you are, what you're doing on behalf of all of us, and to show up here today and break it down for all of us, simply leaving us empowered, man. Together, united, this is going to be an awesome thing to be part of, and even a part of history once again together right here in the now. My God. To all you tattoo guardians all over the world. Can our listeners out of the U.S. join?
Yeah, they're hitting
great.
Alliance of Professional Tattooists, not just American Tattooists.
Okay.
Any tattoo artist.
So all our listeners all over the world can now join the APT and support us.
That's awesome.
Okay. Good. Mm-hmm. Guardians all over the world, thank you for your love and support. We're going to continue to show up week after week and serve you from our whole hearts. We'll see y'all next week.
Man, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Matt, I don't know about you, but I like coffee.
You know I do, every day, all day.
Man, and I could go for one right now. So our listeners, did you know that you can buy us a coffee?
For real?
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Well, if you like what we do and you support our show and you appreciate our content, you can just go and click that little button that our producer Mike puts in every show and buy us a coffee, just to show your contribution that you appreciate what we do for you to help us out.
People can really buy us a coffee?
Totally.
I would be honored if you bought me a coffee.
And not only that, but we got a little spot. It's special for the VIP listeners. It's called Close Friends on Instagram. And on there, you can see some behind-the-scenes content. And when the cameras ain't running, seeing all the shit we'd be talking about each other.
Is that true, Mike? Damn, you guys, this is the first I've heard about either of these. So they can buy you or me a coffee.
Or Mr. Carlton.
And, get a sneak peek behind the scenes?
Yeah.
By doing what again?
Fucking smashing that button.
Okay. What button you talking about? I want to smash the button.
It's the button on the fucking thing.
Okay. Do it. Just do it.
Absolutely demolish the button. But thanks for your time again, and we appreciate all our listeners.
Always.